fear is not your enemy. It is your invitation to grow, even though it often feels like something that is trying to hold you back or keep you stuck. The truth is, fear appears when you are standing at the edge of something new, something unfamiliar, something that has the potential to change your life. It shows up not because you are weak, but because you are about to step beyond the limits of who you used to be. Most people misunderstand fear. They think it is a sign to stop, to retreat, to stay safe, but in reality, it is a signal pointing directly toward growth, expansion, and transformation. When you feel fear, it means you are stretching beyond your comfort zone, and that is exactly where growth lies. Nothing extraordinary has ever been achieved by staying comfortable, by repeating what is already known, or by avoiding risk. Fear is the doorway, and on the other side of that doorway is the person you are meant to become. If you choose to walk away every time fear appears, you also walk away from your own potential. But if you choose to face it, to move through it, you begin to unlock a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, and more capable than you ever imagined. Think about the moments in your life when you felt the most proud of yourself. Those moments were not easy. They were not free from doubt, and they were certainly not comfortable. They were the moments when you felt uncertain but took action anyway. That is what makes fear so powerful. It tests your willingness to grow. It asks you a simple but life-changing question. Are you going to stay where you are, or are you willing to become more? Fear does not disappear when you grow. It evolves with you. As you reach new levels, new fears will arise, and that is not something to avoid. It is something to welcome, because every new fear carries a new opportunity. It is an invitation to rise higher, to think bigger, and to trust yourself more deeply. When you begin to see fear in this way, your entire perspective changes. Instead of resisting it, you start to lean into it. Instead of running away, you step forward with courage. You have to understand that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act in spite of it. Every confident person you admire has felt fear, has faced doubt, and has questioned themselves. The difference is they did not allow those feelings to define their actions. They used fear as fuel, as a guide, as a signal that they were moving in the right direction. And you can do the same. Growth is never comfortable. It requires you to let go of old beliefs, old habits, and sometimes even old versions of yourself. Fear is simply the emotional response to that process. It is not there to destroy you. It is there to shape you. It is there to push you beyond what is familiar so you can discover what is possible. So the next time fear shows up in your life, do not see it as an obstacle. See it as an opportunity. See it as a sign that you are on the verge of something meaningful. Take a deep breath, trust yourself, and take one step forward. Because every time you choose courage over comfort, you are answering the invitation to grow. And with each step, you become stronger, more confident, and more aligned with the life you are meant to live. Confidence is built through action, not perfection. And this is something many people struggle to accept because they believe they must be fully ready, fully prepared, and completely flawless before they take their first step. The truth is, waiting for perfection is one of the biggest reasons people stay stuck, because perfection is an illusion that keeps moving further away the longer you chase it. Action, on the other hand, is real, it is immediate, and it is the only path that leads to true confidence. Every time you take action, even if it is small, you send a message to yourself that you are capable. You prove to your mind that you can handle challenges, that you can learn, and that you can improve. Confidence does not come from thinking about doing something. It comes from actually doing it, from experiencing it, from making mistakes and learning how to correct them. When you avoid action because you are afraid of making errors, you also avoid the very process that builds your strength and belief in yourself. Perfection creates pressure. It makes you feel like you have to get everything right the first time. And that pressure often leads to hesitation and fear. Action removes that pressure because it shifts your focus from being flawless to being present and engaged. It allows you to grow step by step, to improve gradually, and to understand that progress is far more valuable than perfection. The most successful and confident people are not those who never fail. They are the ones who act consistently, learn quickly, and adapt continuously. Think about any skill you admire, whether it is speaking, writing, leading, or creating. No one starts out perfect. Every expert was once a beginner who made countless mistakes, faced rejection, and felt unsure. What made the difference was not talent alone. It was the willingness to take action again and again, even when it felt uncomfortable. Each attempt added a layer of experience. Each mistake offered a lesson, and each lesson built a stronger foundation of confidence. When you rely on perfection, you give your power away to unrealistic expectations. You start measuring yourself against an ideal that does not exist, and in doing so, you limit your growth. But when you focus on action, you take your power back. You become responsible for your progress, and you allow yourself to evolve naturally. Confidence grows as a result of this process, not as a prerequisite for it. It is important to understand that action does not have to be big or dramatic. Small, consistent steps are often more powerful than occasional bursts of effort. When you show up daily, when you practice, when you try again after failure, you build a sense of trust within yourself. That trust becomes the foundation of confidence. You begin to believe in your ability to figure things out, to overcome obstacles, and to move forward no matter what. Fear of judgment and fear of failure often hold people back from taking action, but these fears lose their power when you focus on growth instead of perfection. When you accept that mistakes are part of the journey, you free yourself from the need to be flawless. You allow yourself to be human, to learn, and to improve. This mindset shift is what transforms hesitation into momentum. Over time, something remarkable happens. The actions that once felt difficult start to feel natural. The things that once scared you begin to feel manageable. And the confidence you were waiting for starts to emerge, not because you reached perfection, but because you kept going despite imperfection. That is the true nature of confidence. It is earned through experience, strengthened through persistence, and sustained through continuous action. So instead of waiting to be perfect, choose to act. Start where you are, use what you have, and take that first step, no matter how small it may seem, because every action you take is a step toward becoming more confident, more capable, and more aligned with the person you are meant to become. Your story, including your struggles, is your power, even though there may have been times when you felt ashamed of it or wished you could erase certain chapters from your life. The truth is, every experience you have gone through, every challenge you have faced, and every obstacle you have overcome has shaped you into the person you are today. Your story is not something to hide. It is something to own, because within it lies your strength, your resilience, and your unique perspective on the world. Many people believe that their struggles make them weak, but in reality, struggles are what build strength. They test your limits. They push you beyond what is comfortable, and they force you to grow in ways that ease and comfort never could. When you go through difficult times, you learn lessons that cannot be taught in any other way. You develop patience, courage, empathy, and understanding, and these qualities become a part of who you are. They become the foundation of your power. Your story is powerful because it is yours alone. No one else has lived your exact life, felt your exact emotions, or overcome your exact challenges. That uniqueness is what makes your voice valuable. When you share your story, you are not just speaking about yourself, you are giving others permission to see themselves in your journey. You are reminding them that they are not alone, that their struggles do not define their worth, And that growth is always possible. It is easy to celebrate success, but it is the struggles behind that success that truly matter. Those moments when you felt lost, when you doubted yourself, when you wanted to give up, to keep going, those are the moments that define your character. They reveal your strength, not your weakness. They show that you have the ability to endure, to rise, and to transform. There is a kind of power that comes from embracing your story fully without trying to hide the difficult parts. When you accept your past, you take control of it. You stop letting it control you, and instead you use it as fuel for your future. You begin to see that everything you have been through has prepared you for something greater. Every setback has taught you something. Every failure has guided you, and every struggle has made you stronger. Sometimes the very things you once saw as your biggest weaknesses become your greatest strengths. The pain you experience can become the source of your compassion. The failures you endured can become the lessons you share with others. The challenges you faced can become the proof that growth is possible. This is how your story becomes your power, not because it was perfect, but because you found a way to rise through it. You have to understand that your story does not end with your struggles. It continues with your choices, your actions, and your mindset. You have the ability to shape the meaning of your experiences. You can choose to see them as limitations, or you can choose to see them as stepping stones. That choice determines how your story empowers you. Is that when you stand in your truth, when you stop apologizing for where you have been and start honoring how far you have come, you step into a different level of confidence. You no longer feel the need to compare your journey to others because you recognize the value of your own path. You understand that your experiences have given you a strength that cannot be taken away. Your story is not a burden, it is a source of power. It is evidence of your resilience, your courage, and your ability to grow. It is a reminder that no matter what you have been through, you are still here, still moving forward, and still capable of creating something meaningful with your life. So embrace your story, every part of it, the highs and the lows, the victories and the struggles, because within it lies your strength, your voice, and your power. And when you truly own it, you become unstoppable. What you believe about yourself shapes your reality because your beliefs act as the lens through which you see the world, interpret experiences, and make decisions. Whether you realize it or not, the thoughts you consistently hold about who you are influence how you behave, how you respond to challenges, and what you think is possible for your life. If you believe you are capable, strong, and worthy, you will naturally take actions that align with those beliefs. But if you believe you are not good enough, not ready, or destined to fail, you will unconsciously limit yourself even when opportunities are right in front of you. Your mind is constantly looking for evidence to support what you already believe. If you see yourself as someone who cannot succeed, every mistake will feel like confirmation of that belief. You will overlook your progress, ignore your strengths, and focus only on what went wrong. On the other hand, if you believe in your ability to grow and improve, you will view those same mistakes as lessons, as stepping stones, as necessary parts of the journey. The external situation may be the same, but your internal belief changes the meaning you give to it, and that meaning shapes your reality. Beliefs are powerful because they often operate quietly in the background. They are formed over time through experiences, upbringing, and the messages you have received from others. Sometimes these beliefs are not even true, but they feel real because you have repeated them to yourself for so long. You might have been told at some point that you are not talented, not smart enough, or not capable, and without questioning it, you accepted it as truth. But the reality is beliefs are not fixed. They can be challenged, changed, and replaced. When you begin to examine what you truly believe about yourself, you start to see how those beliefs have been influencing your life. You may notice patterns, moments where you held yourself back, times when you avoided opportunities, or situations where you doubted yourself unnecessarily. This awareness is powerful because it gives you the ability to choose differently. You are no longer controlled by unconscious beliefs. You become intentional about what you accept as truth. Changing your beliefs is not about pretending or forcing yourself to think positively without reason. It is about building new evidence through action and experience. When you step outside your comfort zone, when you try something new, when you persist despite difficulty, you begin to create proof that you are more capable than you once believed. Each small success, each lesson learned, and each challenge overcome becomes a piece of evidence that reshapes your self-image. Over time, these new beliefs begin to take root. You start to see yourself differently, not as someone limited by fear or doubt, but as someone who can learn and grow. This shift changes how you approach life. You become more willing to take risks, more open to opportunities, and more resilient in the face of setbacks. Your reality begins to expand, not because the world has changed, but because your perception of yourself has changed. It is important to understand that your beliefs do not just affect your actions, they also influence how others perceive you. When you carry yourself with confidence and self-belief, people respond to that energy. They see you as capable, as trustworthy, as someone who knows their worth. But when you doubt yourself, that uncertainty can be felt, and it can shape how others interact with you. In this way, your internal beliefs create external outcomes. You have the power to redefine what you believe about yourself. You can choose to let go of limiting thoughts and replace them with beliefs that support your growth and potential. This does not happen overnight. It requires consistency, awareness, and patience. But with time, those new beliefs become your new reality. So be mindful of the story you tell yourself because it matters more than you think. The words you repeat in your mind, the labels you attach to yourself, and the expectations you set all contribute to the life you create. When you choose to believe in your strength, your ability, and your potential, you begin to act in ways that bring that belief to life. And that is how your reality is shaped from the inside out. You become unshakable when you stop seeking approval and start owning your truth. Because the moment you rely on others to validate you, you give them power over your identity, your decisions, and your direction in life. Approval can feel comforting. It can make you feel accepted and valued. But when it becomes your foundation, it also becomes your weakness, because the same people whose approval lifts you up can also take it away. And when that happens, your sense of self begins to shake. True strength does not come from being liked by everyone. It comes from being aligned with who you truly are. From a young age, many people are taught to seek approval, to fit in, to meet expectations, and to avoid standing out in ways that might invite criticism. Over time, this creates a habit of looking outward for validation instead of inward for truth. You begin to measure your worth based on opinions, reactions, and acceptance from others, and slowly you lose connection with your authentic self. You start to ask, what will they think? Instead of asking, what do I truly believe? This is where inner conflict begins, because living for approval often means living against your own truth. Owning your truth requires courage, because it means accepting yourself fully, even the parts that others may not understand or agree with. It means recognizing your values, your beliefs, your desires, and standing by them, even when it feels uncomfortable. This does not mean you ignore feedback or stop growing, it means you stop allowing external opinions to define your identity. You listen, you learn, but you decide for yourself who you are and what matters to you. And when you stop seeking approval, you free yourself from constant comparison and judgment. You no longer feel the need to constantly prove yourself because you already know your worth. This creates a sense of stability within you. No matter what others say or think, you remain grounded. Their praise does not inflate you, and their criticism does not break you. You become balanced, centered, and strong. Being unshakable does not mean you never feel doubt or insecurity. It means those feelings no longer control your actions. You acknowledge them, but you do not let them dictate your choices. Instead, you move forward based on your truth, your values, and your purpose. This is where real confidence is built not from external applause, but from internal alignment. There will be moments when standing in your truth feels lonely, when others question your choices, or when you face resistance. But those moments are also tests of your strength. They ask you, are you willing to stay true to yourself even when it is difficult? And every time you choose authenticity over approval, you reinforce your inner foundation. You become stronger, more certain, and more resilient. Owning your truth also means taking responsibility for your life. It means accepting your decisions, learning from your mistakes, and growing from your experiences. You stop blaming others or waiting for permission, and you start leading yourself. This shift changes everything because it puts you in control of your path. As you continue to live in alignment with your truth, you will notice a powerful transformation. You will feel more at peace, more focused, and more confident. You will attract people and opportunities that resonate with who you truly are, rather than who you pretend to be. Your relationships become more genuine, your actions more intentional, and your life more meaningful. In the end, becoming unshakable is not about building walls or shutting others out. It is about building a strong foundation within yourself. It is about knowing who you are, what you stand for, and refusing to compromise that for temporary approval. When you reach that point, nothing external can easily disturb your sense of self because it is rooted in something deeper and more real. So stop seeking approval as your source of worth and start owning your truth as your source of strength. Because the moment you do, you step into a level of confidence and stability that cannot be easily shaken, and that is what makes you truly unshakable. In the end, becoming feared unshakable is not about eliminating fear, achieving perfection, or having a flawless journey. It is about transforming how you see yourself and how you respond to life. It is about understanding that fear is not there to stop you, but to guide you, that confidence is not something you wait for, but something you build through action, and that every part of your story, especially your struggles, carries the strength you need to rise. When you shift your beliefs about yourself, you begin to change the direction of your life because your thoughts shape your actions and your actions shape your reality. And when you stop seeking approval from the outside and start owning your truth from within, you create a foundation that cannot easily be shaken by opinions, doubts, or challenges. This is where true power lies, not in being perfect, but in being real, not in being fearless, but in moving forward despite fear, not in being accepted by everyone, but in fully accepting yourself. That is what makes you dangerously confident. That is what makes you unstoppable. So carry this with you, step into your life with courage. Trust in your growth, honor your journey, and believe deeply in who you are becoming. Because the moment you choose yourself fully and unapologetically is the moment your life begins to transform. And that is where your fearless, unshakable self is born.